Okay, so today I'm going to be replacing my battery. I've had this car for about 3 years, and so I finally decided to replace it, mainly because my car has gone to crap, and the battery is not just down, it's dead. So I had to get myself a new battery, and now I'm going to replace it. So a car battery usually takes around 3 to 5 years to conk out, depending on how short your drives are. Because the thing about a battery is it charges the longer and further you drive. With me specifically, because of the fact that I only take very short travels, mainly just from my home to work, to the gym, to the club, back home, I don't travel that far, and so my battery doesn't charge that much. So a thing you should do if you are like me and only travel very short distances in a day or in a week, go for like a good 30-minute long drive, either just there and back or just there to somewhere to help your battery charge, so it'll actually last longer. Because again, the less you travel, the shorter distance it is, the less your battery gets charged because of how far the distance is that you travel. So the main thing that comes when replacing a battery like mine is the fact that it's mainly nuts that tie down your battery to the chassis. So if you have a sprocket set, it'll be a lot easier. Unfortunately, I don't, so the only thing I have is an adjustable spanner. So I am still able to do this, but it'll be a little bit more annoying. So the main thing when removing a battery, you need to remove the negative cable first, followed by the positive. They can be easily identified by mainly the fact that the positive always has a plus on it, and it's usually always red, and then negative is usually always black. So I'm just going to quickly go and do that. And make sure that when you take it off, it is not in contact with the battery and just away from it. And also that when you do this, if you're doing it like I am with an adjustable spanner, make sure that when you tighten it, mainly because I'm doing this from the opposite way, make sure that this end doesn't touch here and here at the same time. I've learned that from personal experience, mainly because positive and negative don't like being in contact with each other. There we go. And now my battery actually is held down by this, and so I actually need to remove both this one here and this one here as well. Some cars don't have that. Some cars are just held down by at the bottom, and others have this on top. If it is, just again do the same thing I did and just loosen the nuts, at least on the positive and negative terminals. Not sure about these, if I have to take them all the way off. If I do, just hold on to them and make sure you don't lose them. Like I said before, if I had a sprocket set, this would be so much easier. So for those people that do have a sprocket set, lucky you. Yeah, make sure you hold on to this and don't lose it. Okay, that's one side down, but I'm probably still gonna have to take the second one off as well. So just sometimes you can take one side off and it'll lift up the whole thing, but with this one you have to take both sides off. So I'll get to that. And voila. Oops. Now, one thing you might notice with my battery is the fact on the positive there's this like blue crusty stuff that is just battery fluid that happened to solidify around here. So if you have enough of it actually on your terminal, it can actually cause your car to, turn the key, tick, 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 that kind of thing. So just a good wire brush with these is good. And if it keeps on happening even though it's all off, I would suggest taking it to like a mechanic or something. And just a note, when it comes to car batteries, these things aren't light. They're actually pretty heavy. So if you're somebody that isn't that very strong, I suggest getting somebody else to help you out with it. And also just making sure the fact that the tray that your battery sits on is good, and the surface itself that it lays on is nice and flat and not jiggling around. Now when you get your new battery, make sure that you actually get your old one, take it into a place like, I don't know, Ripco's or Super Cheap or any kind of mechanic place like that, and make sure that you actually tell them what your battery is. Don't just make the same mistake that a friend of mine made, where he just went and found a battery that he thought would fit in his car and ended up being way too big to actually fit in his car in comparison to what his last battery was. Like, thankfully he got it, like, gave it back and got his money back, but don't make that mistake. Just find out what your battery is and make sure you get the correct one for your replacement. So when you put it in, make sure it fits, and then make sure that the positive and negative terminals are where their cables are. Don't have that switched around, because that's not going to end up too well. Take the caps off, and then put everything that was in there before as it was. And again, just make sure that you didn't lose any of your stuff when putting everything in there. Otherwise, this would probably be a bigger pain than you'd think. Want to make sure that these are not super tight, but just tight enough where your battery won't jiggle around too much during any kind of driving or whatnot. Now, usually when people do this afterwards, they would use a wire brush to clean these to make it easier to slip on. I don't have a wire brush, so unfortunately I can't do that. And then another thing, like I mentioned before, for keeping it either rust free or to prevent corrosion, people would usually spray it with a kind of anti-rust, or do a thing where you can cover it with, say, Vaseline, which is what my dad did with this, with my last battery, which had all the stuff on it, which stopped the kind of blue corrosion on it. So if you want to do that, then that's definitely something that I would recommend doing. But since I don't have Vaseline or a wire brush, I'm just going to put these back on and see how that goes. Okay, so we're going to be doing this the opposite way that we took the battery off before, putting it on. So positive terminal first and negative terminal second. Now, as you can see, this is different from my old one where the terminals are on the right side instead of on the left side. That might be a bit iffy, but if your clamps can reach to the terminals, then it should be good enough. Okay, so terminals are on there, battery is good, it's in there, stable, both is on. Now we'll see if it starts. Okay, let's see. Ooh. Finally. Okay, so that was me changing my battery. A little bit different, so I thought I'd show some people that might not know how to do it, considering this is my first time ever changing battery on a car. And I'm just gonna take this thing for quite a long drive, because it's been about 4 days since, oh no, 5 days, Jesus, since I was able to drive this thing since the battery died. So yeah, that's about it. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one.